Hi, welcome to the Lisa Saunders Show. I am Lisa Saunders. I'm an author and I'm also the publisher of the Mystic Newsletter. And I have two authors here and an illustrator that I'm really excited to introduce. And I realized before the show, I'm not sure I know how to say your last name. So you are Linda
Laudone.
Laudone. Okay, and you are the author of My Dog Wants to Be a Cat.
Yes.
Okay, I have to say, the reason I wanted you on is because my grandson loves your book. He's only a little over a year old, and I gave him your book, My Dog Wants to Be a Cat, thinking he was a little too young for that, but he really enjoys it. So I just had to have you on.
Oh.
And my daughter says, Mom, he wants it over and over and over again. So it's just a cute story. Do you have a dog?
I did. These were my actual pets. This was Abby, the dog Abby, and the cat Belle. And they've since passed, however, but they were my actual dog and cat.
And you described a dog so well, how annoying they are to a cat.
Right, exactly, exactly.
Well, that was so cute. As well, thank you for the book, because I know he enjoyed it. And I have with you today your co-author of a new book that you're doing.
Right.
S. Jane
Scheyder.
And you're the author of the romantic comedy Clairmont Series, as well as the author book One More Thing. And we have a special guest to you, and your son, who is the illustrator of this book.
Yep.
And this is your new book that the three of you work together on, right? How will you change the world?
Yeah.
That is so neat that mother and son work together on books.
A little bit of a family business going on.
Yes.
That is great. And like I said, my grandson loves your illustrations because obviously that's part of the story. So like I said, my daughter will think this is fun to watch this. And when he gets older, he will watch this too to see who helped create that work. Now, I'm so excited to hear about your new book. You have a new book, and that's what we're going to talk about. What is the name of your new book?
The book is How Will You Change the World? And it is a story about an elephant, actually, who travels with his mother from continent to continent, going around the world to meet animals who give back naturally by the way they live. They give back to their environment. It's a book about giving back.
Wow.
And we start off with this little elephant, and he's not having a great day. He's a little bit cranky, and he's tired, he's hot, and he doesn't want to do any more walking. He's just going along with his mother. And she goes, well, maybe you should start thinking about things differently, because she then helps him imagine all these different interesting animals. Again, one from every continent. So you kind of travel around the globe, and he's imagining these different animals.
Okay, so it's not like they have to get on a boat and travel.
Exactly.
Okay, because I was wondering,
it's all imagination. It's all imagination.
So she's telling him what these different animals do in different continents.
Exactly.
Oh, very
And you
sweet.
kind of get a sense, it's kind of this whimsical, she's imagining, and you kind of get a hint at what will come next in different. So he starts out, well, if you're gonna do that, I should show the previous page. He's kind of cranky.
Okay,
as you can see.
that is a cranky
So he's having a rough day, and she said, Mama, unruffled, said, little one, listen. You think of yourself, what you have or you lack. Maybe it's time that you look at life differently. Think of the ways that you'd like to give back. And she just teaches him about all these different interesting animals. So we've got tree frogs and seals and bowerbirds.
Oh, so you're really learning a lot on top of having fun. And I like that message about when people are cranky. I really think a lot of times the solution is when you're really depressed or miserable, I think it's good to think about what can I do for somebody else? Because then that takes your mind off it. Is that like a message you were hoping to get across?
And the perspective, again, is everything. If you can think about yourself in relation to other people, what you have, you can just, it's a wonderful tool, especially for kids when they'll be like, I'm bored, this is just, and they're frustrated, to change that perspective for them about what they can do to help the environment, to help the world, just by little actions, that's exciting.
That is exciting. And
very,
again, it
very
takes your mind off yourself.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Because if you're bored, there's something you need to do something about
Yeah.
Right.
it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So how did
Exactly.
you three meet to collaborate on this?
Okay, well, I work at East Lyme High School, and I work with special needs children. And
By the way, thank you, because my daughter was special needs for
You're
16
very
years before
welcome.
she passed. And
Very welcome.
the people I met were very special, and you're one
Great,
of them.
great. And this just one day, I ran into Susie Scheyder, and because she was working at the school also as
And
a
you're
sub.
a substitute?
She's
Okay.
subs. And we just started talking, and we made friends, and she was talking about her novels, and then I started to tell her that I had written a book years ago, many years ago, but I've always put it on the back burner because other things always
Right.
come up. So I had told her about this, and she says, "Well, bring in your script." And I said, well, "Okay."
This is the book you're
This
talking
is the
about.
book I'm talking
my
about.
Okay, so
Exactly.
that you had written it, and that's how you met her son. Now, okay, now I'm getting it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So I did. I had papers that I had written the script on, and so I gave it all to Susan, and she brought it home and shared it with Jacob, and she came back to school, and she said, we're going to make this a book. And here it is.
And your words really fit the pictures because your words are very simple. You know, he likes it because we can keep turning pages quickly. You don't go
Yeah.
on and on.
Right.
And so is that how you chose how to do like simple illustrations?
Well, actually, yes. So there was in your kind of mock-up, you had a very, very specific, interesting vision for this. And what struck me looking at it was the kind of rhythm of back and forth. Dog presents something, cat has an answer, or cat is trying to do something alone, dog interrupts. And there's a kind of fun, playful back and forth with each starter having a punchline. So that was fun for me as an illustrator to then be able to see if I could translate that in the cutest possible way. And then we went back and forth, and I said, well, what do you think about these sketches? Do you think that encapsulates? Because again,
Exactly.
we were going off of doing a nod to her pets that these characters were based on. So I would see pictures and I kind of go, okay, well, does this give a nod to Abby? Does it give a nod to Belle, but still keep it kind of playful and reimagined? And then once we settled on that, it was a great working relationship. We went very fast.
It was very, very good working relationship.
It is so nice when you can actually work with your illustrator. I love when I can do that because then
Exactly.
we're playing off each other. Sometimes I'll change my words based on the illustrator, what they're doing. I thought,
It'll
ooh,
inspire
you know
you,
what?
yeah.
That was a better idea than how I wrote it. What
Right.
you're showing. So I love. My sister-in-law does a lot of my illustrations. I
Oh,
can
that's great.
imagine
That's
that
great.
it's fun when you can really work
Absolutely.
with somebody. How did you get into illustrating? You look very young to be doing
27 actually. So it was something that I'd always done kind of peripherally, just been drawing for forever, and never really set out to illustrate full time. I kind of so done a lot of other things, but really with this book, I kind of ventured into children's book illustration. And
So
a lot has come as a result of your tenacity. She's a great marketer of herself. We're always amazed at the new things that she's getting herself involved in and promoting. But another book was the result of just, again, you're putting it out there. This was certainly the result of your putting this book out there. So there's been such a nice chain reaction of that then now I'm a children's book illustrator.
So that's what you do full time then, like you're an independent illustrator.
So I'll do so we've had we had this book commissioned through Ivory Ella, and in the process of weighing a couple projects now, but it's been kind of fun because someone will approach me and be like, well, I have this concept, and what do you think? What are your rates? And things like that. And we kind of go back and forth, but it's been kind of a fun freelance job that's evolved into something much more substantial than I would have thought it would be. But it's all kind of who you meet and who presents an idea to you, and so it's kind of cool, especially when you can get this kind of working relationship
Right.
where you're just
Right,
making
absolutely.
decisions, and it's like you said, evolving based on ideas back and forth.
Right. And I just, well, I love elephants.
They're
Who doesn't
great.
love elephants?
They're great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's that special bond that you see between mother and baby is very touching. Like whenever there's a nature show with elephants, I always watch that because that's just a very sweet
Right.
relationship.
They do, and they have
Exactly.
there's so many. When I was looking at reference pictures, so many sweet mother and child pictures of them walking along together, or just there was so much great material to work off of.
And baby elephants, I mean, I don't know if you ever saw that show on Nature Channel, when they have to rescue them because the mother's been killed. They learned that you can't let the baby elephant just get attached to one person, because this one person who really saved this baby elephant, she had to go to her daughter's wedding in another continent, and she's gone 2 weeks, and the baby died. It was finally doing well, but that was her mother leaving, and she couldn't eat. So now on this preserve somewhere, they take turns sleeping with the baby elephant.
Oh, wow.
That's
So
amazing.
it doesn't just become attached. So I don't know, there's just something very tender and sweet.
Yeah.
I'm sure all animals are wonderful, but there's just something about elephants because you just can't bring them in your house. So you have to you have to imagine how special they
The
are.
irony of thinking that they're cuddly and sweet when they're enormous and terrifying. But they are, they're fascinating. And they do have these familial relationships when you start to look into it that are wonderful to observe and fun to celebrate when you bring it to light through pictures.
Well, how did you come up with this story? Because you're co-authors.
Yes, we are.
So how did you say, I have an idea, or did you say I have an idea? Or how did this idea come about?
Actually, we were commissioned with the 2 words, the concept "give back," and that
Give
was with
back.
Ivory Ella. Give back.
Who's Ivory Ella?
Ivory Ella is a local company that sells T-shirts and different kinds of water bottles and beautiful things with
If you
an
saw a product,
ivory.
you probably recognize a very
Probably
iconic brand.
would,
They've
yeah.
grown very
Yes.
quickly
Yeah.
over the course of the year.
Yeah.
Do a lot of amazing work with Save the Elephants.
Exactly.
Oh,
So that
okay.
in our
I'm
book,
starting to.
There's the elephant.
Exactly.
There's the connection.
yes, and so that proceeds from sales of every book will go to elephant conservation.
Oh, that's
Which is really
wonderful.
exciting. And they inspired us, and they commissioned or sponsored us, I guess is the best working relationship, and gave us the concept to give back. And we see how they give back because all of their sales benefit the elephants. And so basically starting with the give back concept.
Very broad,
and
right?
a very broad concept with an age range that was broad from say pre-K really up through 5th grade. How are we going to reach that group of people with a story?
So you were asked to do one on elephants, like as central character, because that's where
we
they
agreed
live.
that would make sense, given
Yes.
that it originated with Ivory Ella.
Right.
So so the elephant tells the stories, and since animals are just fun to learn from and about anyhow, that's where the story started to take shape. Well, we'll have an elephant who learns about giving back. How are they going to learn? They're going to learn from visiting other animals. Well, what are the animals going to teach them? Let's think about animals around the world that give back.
And as you two did research, that prompted me to come up with this initial sketch. It inspired me to come up with this elephant hugging the globe.
Hugging the world.
And then from there, the focus became global, and thinking, but he could learn about an animal from this continent and this continent. And then it became a fun kind of structure to hang this idea on, because again, a big concept.
Right.
But it was from the two of you kind of getting that ball rolling that then I'm like, I have an idea. And then it really, again, that kind of back and forth helped it evolve into something
Really
kind of fun.
exciting. Yeah, you mentioned that how that feeds off of each other. So your picture would inspire us. You had drawn pictures of different kinds of animals, and we were looking around the world to see
Right.
what different animals do. And the picture of squirrels that you had drawn early on, I loved it, and that kept our minds going about, well, what do squirrels do? And it inspired in different ways. It was fun to see how the back and forth brought the book together. And then Linda's thought, let's do one from every continent. Then you've really got a teaching tool. And
So I'm curious, how do squirrels give back? Because everyone's kind of mad at them in their
for
yard
the-
when
Exactly,
they're
right?
taking
there's
from their
another
work.
irony.
Well, here's what we got.
Okay, tell us.
Here is
So,
Go
yeah, if
ahead,
you want
read
to
it.
Right.
Go ahead,
Oh,
read it. Why don't
here
you
is
read
an animal in North America giving back to an amazing degree. Squirrels run around hiding seeds, nuts, and acorns, and each one forgotten becomes a new tree. I love that forgetting something is useful.
Right?
That's increasingly
Right,
meaningful
'cause,
to
like,
me.
yeah, because you feel so dumb when you forget something important, but like maybe because you forgot something great's gonna happen.
Something else, exactly, right?
And so that's how
Right.
a tree gets planted, because the squirrel forgets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
it's all really just very simply these animals just existing, just doing their, just little tiny things have such a profound effect on all of us and in
Yeah.
our world. And so that was fun to hunt down what different ways
Oh,
that
now
they
you've got me
naturally.
curious.
Exactly.
I'll have to get the book. So I can
Turns
find
out we brought you one.
Great.
Oh,
Yes, absolutely,
Well,
absolutely.
you have to autograph it to my grandson.
Oh, we'd be happy
Perfect.
to.
Oh,
Certainly.
that's lovely. So how can people get this book? It isn't officially out yet, or can you?
It's available on Amazon.
Okay.
And we're officially launching at the end of May, but we will have it in local bookstores. We will be at fairs and events throughout the summer.
Okay, good.
And on our website.
And
our
people
website.
can probably go to a bookstore and order it too.
Absolutely. Always do that.
Because
You
they'll
bet.
always do that
Yes,
for you.
absolutely. If it's not on the shelf, they will order it for you
Right.
for sure.
Yes. So I know you have some events coming up. Is there anything in particular you wish the public would know about?
Well, this Saturday, there's Save Ocean Beach. It's a mile-long vendor sale. That's
Ocean
going
Beach,
to be
is
happening
that
in New London.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's about it for me for now. But we will have signings and
So where can people go to keep up to date with your events so they can come and meet
So,
you to
yep,
get
our
signed?
website, andersblanton.com.
Okay.
And all of it.
And we're
you'll
flashing
hit
that
the news,
across the
news
screen.
section on there, and then that'll give you the most up to date. Everything that we've got going on will be all collected there.
Yeah. We're hoping to stay busy throughout the summer doing those events. I'll be at an event called the Novel Affair, which is a new event for Connecticut authors in Brantford, and that's in the beginning of June. And there'll be a bunch of Connecticut authors all together, and that should be a fun event as well. But there will be many opportunities to get
There
out
sure
there
will, huh?
and meet
And
people.
we're branching out into educational opportunities as well. We do a presentation on author-illustrator collaboration, which has been really fun in schools.
Oh.
So, for example, for our first title, one more thing. We would
you hold
do a presentation where this is, again, there's a kind of like with this book, there's a rhythm, there's a back and a forth, there's a child presents a crazy outlandish problem and mom comes back with a reasonable solution. So
Problem solving.
we read through the book with all these different grade levels, and they came up with their new problem and solution. I illustrate it for them on we came up with this big poster book, so by the end of the day, they'd collaborated on a
you're
small
kidding.
scale,
That sounds
and then the whole
so
school made a book.
fun.
A giant
So-
book on foam
That's
board with
great.
Which is really fun. So we're hoping to expand, and I've actually partnered with an elementary school teacher with respect to this book. And there are a lot of educational materials and activities that connect to this, that are reading response, that talk about parts of speech, that talk about making up your own rhymes, that are learning about consonants and colors, and so there are a lot of educational venues that we're pursuing now too, which is
That
really
sounds
kind of
like
fun.
a great idea. So if a teacher or somebody wants to have an event, how should they get in touch with you?
On our website, and again, the email that you've got, the contact at Anders Blanton, is the perfect way to get in touch with us about that.
Okay.
And we do have that information readily available about what kinds of programs we provide, and
And that's
we can go
perfect,
from
because
there.
you two are already in a school system.
Exactly,
yeah.
And it's
Right.
just that natural progression of, hey, then have it relate to education. And then especially with this book that kind of goes through nature and
Yep.
science and animals, but then we were able to
Geography.
tie in all these other subjects, which has
Yeah.
been really cool.
Yeah.
Very good.
Geography and colors. Each continent is a different color, so you've got the colors of the visible spectrum celebrated
got it.
as you
Now,
go
why
along
is
too.
that? Like, why did you choose to do that?
Personally, that's more of my illustrator side going, oh, I like that we've got 7 continents. I like that we've got 7 colors. I like that so I was thinking, we could go Europe, red.
Why did you choose red? Did you have a...
Well, just for our Roy G. Biv, going through the
Okay.
spectrum, and
Okay.
then Asia, orange, and then North America, yellow, and then each one has an animal hidden in the overall continent, and kids can kind of guess. Ooh, what do you think that is? What is that? What is that? Can you guess?
Great
You
learning
get to
tool.
South America, and you've got your tree
The-
frog
oh,
hidden in there.
now
Spoiler.
I see it.
So it's- but they're
so
kinda
there's so
subtly
many
hidden.
levels
There are a lot
of
of-
things that you can look for and share with children
Right,
to
point
make
it
them
out.
really
Yep.
look at that picture and
Right,
think about
Exactly,
it. So that's
exactly.
the
Think
actual
about it.
shape of the continent. So you're
Which
not only
is
learning
fun.
the shape plus the little
Yes.
secret animal hidden within.
Right,
Yep.
and because not very often do you see Antarctica. You don't
Right.
see it.
Right,
You're used to seeing
right.
it in terms of the globe in relation to the other, but to see it
It's
by
always this little
itself.
flat strip at the
Right,
bottom.
but now you get
see
to
its
look
Now
full
you get to
down
kind of look
on
at
it.
it, and now
Right.
so now we guess what continent it is and what animals hidden within, and then these animals that are featured from each continent then each have their colors. So then you've got the Roy G. Biv spectrum getting completed, and you see how close you are to completing that spectrum as you go through the continents. So they're
So
just
really, this is a
teaching
good
tools.
book for anyone all over the world, actually,
Truly,
right?
yeah.
Because then it'll
And
teach.
just the interconnectedness. It's
Yeah,
kind
the
of neat.
interconnected. Oh, that's wonderful.
Isn't that fun?
And then we've got our elephant at the end. He's been leading this charge the whole time, and it's a little hard to see. It's kind of, you have to really zoom in. But he's been great. He's been leading these animals as they've been following each other. But then by the end, when he learns his lesson, you've got, he becomes Violet in the spectrum, and he realizes he's part of something bigger. So it's kind of that
Wow,
cool
this is so
thing.
deep.
Yeah, there are so many interconnected lessons that we just found were they're all
Yes.
intertwined, and we're like, this is a
Do
gold
you
mine
have
for content.
like a
Yes.
list of lessons this book teaches, just
Yep.
so you can give a cheat sheet to somebody in case they don't realize
We
it?
have all that again. All that is available. You can get in touch with us through our website. It's also available on Teachers Pay Teachers website too. But there are any way you want to get in contact with us, we can give. that
We
and put
outline them a
something.
little bit at the very end,
You do,
saying,
so
hope
you-
that you notice that we did visit each of the 7 continents, hope that you noticed that we
Okay,
visited the
good.
colors of the visible spectrum throughout, and then more
So then
activities are available to celebrate the other details.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Through the Teachers Pay Teachers, but everything is available and
Let's
linked.
keep teachers, what you're saying.
So,
Yeah, sorry.
a website through so the elementary school teacher that I worked with on these activities is just the first kind of site that we've pursued where teachers upload content and other teachers can purchase it if they choose to, or you can upload free content, and it's just a nice way to get, again, educational materials out there.
Based
So
on
it's
books
all
that are out there.
Oh.
So
It's teacher,
so-
what? Say it again.
Teachers Pay Teachers.
Teachers
and
Pay
Information
Teachers.
all linked on will be linked on our website.
Okay.
So
So
easy
people
to
can
find.
So a
go
neat
there.
resource.
Yeah, that
Or
is
again,
excellent.
directly through us. So
Very good.
any which way, we'll
Yeah.
we'll provide it.
Yeah, but it is fun starting out with just the idea of give back and then how it grew and grew. And again, the delightful collaboration opportunity, which has been, just such a gift to all of us. But then
All the
this
result
thing
of
has,
meeting Linda.
right?
And
And
it's
this
just-
grew and
it's-
grew
yeah.
and grew, and
Well,
Yeah.
there's nothing like being out there, meeting people.
Yeah.
There's just only so much you can do online, but it's
Right.
face to
Right.
face
Yes,
things.
exactly
In my
right.
mind, for me anyway, things really happen.
It's so important.
Yeah.
When you're face to face. Like I just finished a book that I co-authored with 2 people, Kent and Meredith Fuller, and it was so much fun to co-author a book and not have all that work and direction on my own head.
Right,
Right,
absolutely.
exactly.
Because the
And then
3
the
of us had
motivation.
such different perspectives. It's modern images of America, Mystic. We're just
beautiful.
focusing on Mystic by Arcadia Publishing. But it was fun because Meredith is more visual, so she'd reject pictures that I would have accepted. Well, no, it doesn't cover this, decade or doesn't show whatever. And Kent was just really good at getting some certain details and fact checking. And I don't know, we just
That's
all brought
great.
something different to the
Right.
table to make it
I can
a
understand that.
book
Yeah.
that really can offer a lot. And so I can see with this collaboration, the 3 of you came up with so many ideas.
We
fun.
did. We
It
did.
was
And yet it
fun.
seems like a very cohesive book. Not,
Right.
it's got a lot of ideas, but you don't have to think of them all. You can just
Right.
read it for
Exactly.
There
the
are layers.
enjoyment.
Yeah.
You bet.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have realized there's all these things I'm supposed to
Right, isn't that fun?
that I could be thinking about.
Right, and pictures inspired us, and then we would come up with words that would, we'd just go back and forth and
We
keep
worked
each other
very well
accountable. There are sometimes with the rhyme schemes where you say it enough in your head, you repeat it a certain way, and Jacob would call us to account and say, you know what, that's not the exact emphasis. That word that you
Wow, so
think
even
about
you're
it.
even
So he's even
Yeah,
tuning
it's
in.
also interconnected.
We all
Right.
tune in
and
to that.
influencing those 3 parts.
Exactly, and bringing that in line. Now, I want everyone who sits down to read this book to read it the same way absolutely the first time. So those were that emphasis, that da 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 da. We were talking about like a waltz, a 1 2 3 1 2 3. It has to be consistent. So we kept each other accountable, kept each other motivated, as I'm sure you found with your collaboration as well. I would love a record of our texts back and forth over the last 3 months because
Make a
some of
book out
those
of that.
things were hilarious as we went back and forth and laughed about things and ways that certain animals give back that you don't really want to celebrate, but they're true. And would you want pictures of that? Not so much. And
Oh, you mean
my
like,
goodness,
yeah.
we
Yeah, all
laughed so
sorts of-
hard.
Animals going to the bathroom, you mean?
And certain
there are
ones
all
that I
kinds of
wanted to
things.
incorporate because I wanted a tiger like nobody's business, and I couldn't find one good reason to put a tiger in the book. My Arctic reindeer got cut from the book,
know.
sadly. So
And he
there,
was
I mean, there,
beautiful.
but it's all this kind of, you know,
Yeah,
we all hold each other
exactly.
to account to different
That's right.
standards, and we're like,
It was
well,
great.
if we change this continent, we're going to need to bump this. What can we do? Well, instead of sea lions, we can do seals, and we can have them from Antarctica because they're doing the same thing they are in North America as they are down there, and we can. So it was an interesting way
That's
of
fun.
shifting around so that we got the best candidate for every place. But we could only do that with
Did you have like
3
animals
people back
try
and forth.
out?
The
I mean, it just,
yes, we did take
That's what it
audition
felt
tapes.
like. That's what it felt like.
That was good.
Oh dear. And the
Absolutely.
tigers were cute. They're so cute, but really the way they give back is so violent.
Just by eating and eating other, you know, they keep their food chain in check, and
Right.
that's all.
You know, so
That's all you can
they're
do.
important because every animal is
Yeah.
important, but certain things you just maybe want to
just-
draw less focus to.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So but that was an interesting challenge too. Was finding different ways of helping. And by the
Right.
end of it, you know, you've got wild horses eating flowers so that smaller creatures can have homes. And it's just kind of incidentally what they do affects how little smaller
Because
creatures
they eat
live.
certain things and they don't eat others, which creates habitats for the smaller animals. It's just this beautiful
And you've got
interplay.
pandas controlling bamboo. You've got frogs as a natural indicator for the
bioindicator.
environment. If toxins are present, there are all these amazing ways that these animals contribute, but picking different ways. So then by the
Yep.
end of it, nobody was really,
Too
copying
repetitive.
anybody else.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
they're all
so
offering
they all
something
have
different,
all,
natural.
yeah.
Yeah.
So did you each get a favorite animal, or do you have each a favorite animal, or you don't want to hurt the other animal's feelings by saying?
Oh, we could pick a favorite
interesting.
animal. What would you,
Well, I
what
love
would you guys
the
say?
concept of the squirrel. I love
Yeah, that
that
was
forgetting helps, but in terms of the verse, my verse would probably be Australia, and I'm just going to leave it at that. So how about you?
I love them all.
All right, so
I'm
you equally
sorry.
love each animal.
I equally love each other. I'm not taking sides.
Now,
No.
you said you did seals for animals?
Yes, and they're my favorite. I was just going to
Even
say
though
they're
they
my
eat
favorite.
those poor penguins?
Well,
I'm
the
sure these
thing
ones
is-
don't. I'm sure they don't.
These elephants. So we were talking about elephant seals, and this was kind of like the first illustration that got me excited about this concept. To think of this elephant just spraying water with his trunk, but imagining an underwater kind of habitat and what these seals were doing. So that's kind of again connecting the imagination to what the elephant's doing, but. They'll wear sensors, and scientists they're so intelligent that they can dive and collect data and help.
And they can dive so deep, which
Well,
we
we
can't.
only have
Yep.
a minute left. Like I said, I can't read the book, but yes, it does fly. But is there something you really wish that you had said, and say it fast?
I would say you can change the world.
Yeah.
That-
How will you change the
And
world?
that's the
key.
challenge.
That's
Not
right.
how can you or how could you, but how will you change the world?
So
And
that is your
every
challenge to everyone.
small
Tiniest
action
efforts.
Exactly.
makes a difference.
My last little thing here is just to say thank you to Jacob and Susan.
Thank you.
For making my dream come true. Absolutely.
That's wonderful. That's just nothing like the power of working with people. That's all I can say.
Such a gift.
Yeah.
is
It
that
has been a
makes
beautiful.
it so much more fun for everybody.
And
that
it's
you-
turned into more than what I ever expected.
And now you're taking it
Same
on the
here.
road. You've
Right?
come, you've come all the way to Mystic. Well, thank you so much for coming
Thank
on
you,
my
Lisa.
show.
Thank you for having us. This
You're
has been
welcome.
so much fun.
Oh, I'm
Thank you.
glad. Thank you so much for joining us on the Lisa Saunders Show, and I will see you next week.